Hello guys, and welcome back to Sea Power Naval Combat in the Missile Age. Big thanks to Triassic Games and Microprose for giving me early access to this awesome game, but do bear in mind that it is work in progress and therefore subject to change. If you'd like to check out this game and wishlist it for yourself, I'll leave a link to the Steam page in the description. But today, a little bit of a different video. I'm joined by Holly, a good friend of mine.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. Holly here, he's knows a lot more about submarines than I do, so I thought he would help make this a bit more interesting as I approach this situation. Today we're taking control of a Los Angeles class submarine. This one's the Baltimore, in order to hunt down and intercept a Russian Alfa Class attack submarine. So we've started off here and I've got the towed sonar out. What's the benefit of a towed sonar?
So the towed array allows you to separate a hydrophone from the self noise of your own boat. So a submarine, especially a nuclear submarine, will have what's called baffles at the back that go at roughly 45-degree angle. And your I like the voiceover sound effects. Yeah, so your propulsor at the back is baffled from the rest of the submarine so that you don't interfere with your own sonar to make it sensitive, but it means that you're obviously deaf behind you. So by having a towed array, you can put a hydrophone a long way behind you and separate yourself from your own engine noise. And it can be much more sensitive.
And I guess that also that's pinging itself, so it's pinging away from the submarine, so that...
Nope, that's a passive sensor.
Ah, okay.
So it's purely listening.
Right.
But you can also do you can start to get into some shenanigans, because obviously you've got flank arrays on your actual submarine, which can be passive or active. But by having an array behind you as well, you have two separate points and you can start to do triangulation. And at that point, you can start to get rudimentary ranges to a target completely passively.
Yeah, so in the bottom right here, we have our different options for radar and optics and such. So we have obviously MCON, and then active sonar, which would ping, and then the towed sonar, which is the passive one that you were saying is towed out the back.
You can see there, yeah. So you currently have MCON on, but you're still able to use your towed sonar because it's a completely passive sensor. Right.
And when you come up to the surface, you do get access to the periscope, the radar mast, and the ESM mast as well, which is pretty cool. But today we're going to be staying under the water as we hunt down this enemy submarine.
Perfect matchup, yeah. Alpha versus LA Flight 1. So you're in a Flight 1 Los Angeles class, and you can tell because there's no shroud on the propeller.
Yeah, we have access to the Mark 48 torpedo, and we also have access to the UGM-84 harpoon, which is a weapon system, again, we won't be using today because it's anti-ship more than anti-sub, but I guess technically you could use a harpoon against a sub if it was on the surface. Maybe.
In theory, it'd be pretty tricky. There's a pretty low radar cross-section on a submarine above the surface. There's not much showing.
But yeah, we of course have the Mark 48s. One thing that's really cool is when the torpedoes fire, all of the tubes at the front open up and the torpedo comes out.
Nice.
Very cool. So we'll just continue heading in this direction. We don't necessarily want to be moving too fast, right? Because the faster we move, the more we can be heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more your reactor ramps up and the more flow noise you have. So you both produce more noise and you degrade your sensors more.
So I think we're going ahead 1/3 at the moment. We can maybe speed up a little bit. And we can also adjust our depth. So we can change our speed here, and we can also change our depth. So I believe currently we're on the below layer at 255 feet. Oh no, we were on the shallow or above.
Interesting, it's a little more abstracted than Cold Wars, which I think is the obvious comparison for this game so far, right?
Yeah, it's the same lead developer.
Yes, yeah.
From Cold Waters, as well as Dot, who created the Dot mod, so for Cold Waters.
Oh wow, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic mod if anyone's not tried it.
So we've just pinged the enemy sub. Currently roughly 24, 23. It's getting closer as we begin to hone in on it.
Yeah, you'll start your TMA running now. Your track motion analysis or target motion analysis.
It'll give us a better idea of how close it actually is.
Yep. So obviously the downside with completely passive sensors is that you have no direct range finding.
Can look around the sub in free control, which is very cool. You can actually go off and hunt for the submarine underneath the water, but you can get very lost. Yeah. There's not much to see out here. We're up in the straits in the Arctic Circle.
Is it a world map?
It is indeed, yeah. You can zoom all the way out. I think
Oh, wow.
technically, in this mission, if we were to just ignore the submarine, we could go like sail around the whole world.
Go on a merry adventure.
Yeah, but that would take a long time because the game runs in real time. You can speed it up to like 10,000 times speed, I think, or something crazy.
Oh,
but
it's showing the target decibels and everything. Very interesting.
yeah, we got 7.8 decibels, and it's currently roughly 16 nautical miles away.
Yeah, fairly quiet track.
Track 7001 is classified.
So we've just figured out what it is.
Yeah, your sonar operator has just classified it.
7001. Weapon away. Track 700.
There
Ooh,
it
a
goes.
bold shot
Ceasefire. Track.
with a track with no range data.
So that happened just because I accidentally right-clicked on the track rather than actually firing at it, but we can see what it is now with our
There's your
track
Alpha.
information. So there's the Alpha sub. It's currently pulling away at us at 20 knots, so
That's, yeah, about half of what an Alpha can pull. Very, very fast submarine.
if we select the Mark 48 on the bottom here, you can see the range of the Mark 48 as well with the red circle on the map. So that gives us an idea. One thing that I have found about these Mark 48s is you can fire them in a general direction and then retrack them onto the target.
Yes, wire-guided torpedo, yeah.
Or is it wire guided?
Yep. Yeah, wire-guided torpedo. That arrangement on the back, the shroud of the propeller, has another unit that bolts on the back inside the tube, and it's a cassette that carries a certain amount of wire that tracks out with it. So I'd imagine if it's anything like cold waters, it will simulate if you're going too fast or going up and down too quickly, you can actually break the wire. And at that point, a friendly torpedo becomes an unfriendly torpedo.
I see. Alright. Do you think it'd be worth... What's the benefit of going, deeper in a submarine?
Many and varied. So when you're deeper, you can move faster without cavitating because there's more pressure around the propulsor. Cavitation is caused by something moving very fast through the water and leaving voids, and then them voids collapse, and that clap can be heard from a very long way. It's very high frequency noise. So by being deeper, there's more pressure, so it's harder for them voids to form. It also allows you to play with depth and salinity, which forms an acoustic layer in water. So where you have water of different temperatures and different salinity, it has different density, and sound travels at different speeds through it. So your sonar, or the noise emanating from your track, will curve and bend through different depths of water. And by having a good understanding of the makeup of the water around you, you can either hide in shadowed areas where it's much harder for sound waves to travel in straight lines, or you can actually extend the range of your sonar and extend the range of tracks you can find by sitting in what are called ducts, ductive layers. It's all fairly deep, but you can play a lot with how sound travels through water.
Interesting. So it looks like, yeah, the Alpha class is actually heading towards us, right? At 20 knots.
Yeah, I'm guessing that she has not heard you. She hasn't fired back down the track, and she's not adjusting course or speeding up or slowing down, so I'm guessing that she did not hear that launch. And you've launched completely passively, and it looked like your Mark 48 came out of a starboard tube, which was actually masked by your hull, so it makes it harder for the track to hear your launch.
Interesting.
Contact faded. Track 700.
We've just lost track.
Contact faded, yeah. If she knew she'd been shot at, chances are she would be trying to evade or firing back down the bearing at you.
Is there a good chance they would like... Because apparently, I was reading the description of the Alpha class, they have like a silent running mode. Would you go into like silent running mode to throw off the torpedo potentially?
Situational. Usually not, because if the torpedo's coming towards you and you go into silent running... So silent running is not so much a mode, it's more of a mode of operation, right? Any submarine can go into silent running, and there are different variations of it, alerted and unalerted. And if you've just been shot at, going into silent running is not going to do you too many favors because the target already knows where you are. So that torpedo is going to be coming in, it's becoming much faster than you can travel in silent running mode. So that torpedo will reach its terminal guidance stage and either be passive, which you would fire at a submarine that doesn't know you're there, or if something has gone into silent mode, you could switch your torpedo to active guidance, and the torpedo will start pinging itself, and in that instance, silent running isn't going to save you.
Yeah, so I think what happens with these ones is they start passive, right, and then they start pinging and they get closer to the target.
Yes, yeah. So that torpedo is not what's known as active at the moment. It's just traveling. It isn't looking for a target. It isn't pinging. It isn't listening. It's just traveling to where you've sent it. Although again, I'm not sure how it would simulate it in this. It'd be very interesting to see. But I would guess that if that Alpha has either gone deep or got into silent, it doesn't know that you're there. It doesn't know it's been fired upon. But you also are not hearing any fish in the water, any enemy torpedo.
Oh, we just spotted it again. Looks like it's starting to turn away.
Yeah, the Alpha's maneuvering. I would suggest that Alpha has just realised that there's a fish in the water. You've put yourself in a risky position here because you've fired straight at it. And the joys of a wire-guided torpedo is that you could have fired that torpedo out to the west and then looped it back around so that when it gets close enough for the Alpha to...
Let's fire one off to the right and see if we can track it in after the fact.
Yeah. So you can waypoint your torpedo away into a dog box or a kill box somewhere and then bring it round from a completely different angle so that when your target hears it, if they fire back down the bearing, it's nowhere near you.
I wonder if I can determine how high this is running. So it's just under the water at the top of the moment.
Yeah, that's a shallow running torpedo for sure. I guess because you haven't selected a target, it's just in a nominal surface run mode.
Sure.
Obviously, a Mark 48 is a multi-purpose torpedo, right? It's designed to take on submarines and ships.
Alright, let's speed up the game a little bit as these torpedoes continue towards the target. Looks like the Alpha is turning around completely. We might want to speed up ourselves if we want to stay on target.
You did fire at quite extreme range, didn't you?
I did indeed.
Maneuvering I.
And an Alpha, obviously, very, very famously one of the fastest submarine ever made. 40-something knots they can pull at max.
Yeah, so 41's max speed, and yeah, among the fastest submarine ever built. I really like how they have all of the information on these.
That's cool, yeah.
And they have information about all sorts of stuff as well, so different submarines.
Oh, it even talks about the metal reactor. So they had a lead bismuth reactor cooling system on the Alphas. So instead of just having circulating water to cool it, they had metal that melted and cooled the reactor. Very interesting design. Very, very compact, very small. Allows you to fit a very powerful reactor in a very small form factor. Hence why the Alpha was so fast. But they come with some pretty serious problems. If you scram the reactor or bring the reactor down for any reason, trying to restart it if the metal cools and solidifies in your coolant system is very dangerous and actually led to some quite serious reactor incidents.
Track 7002.
So just turned in the second Mark 48 towards the track.
Be interesting to see how it comes down. Is there depth information on your target? Is there any more specific information on the track?
I believe we can look at information here, and it shows you all the specific track information, which is very complicated for me to look at. I don't quite fully understand this yet.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Main power nuclear radar.
I assume this is it guessing generally what it might be. I mean, it's saying that
This
it's
is
a
the
submarine.
classifications.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So you've got your sensor at the top there, the track, fast detection, confidence. Yeah, so you've only got 33% confidence in your track at the moment.
Yeah, because we don't have the same track as we had before.
Yeah.
Speed it up and watch the torpedo come in here.
Is classified hostile submerged submarine.
So if they realise what's going on, I assume they'll be accelerating. He just dropped a noisemaker to throw off the torpedo. My torpedo changed track. Target. It doesn't look like it has.
Yeah, your torpedo has just gone active. That's the active sonar in the nose of the Mark 48. And your torpedo turned away there because it heard the noisemaker and went into decoy countermeasure avoidance. So it's programmed to turn 90 degrees away from the noisemaker and then turn back around and try and reacquire. Based on the assumption that a noisemaker will come out of the back and fade behind the submarine, you'll turn away from it 90 degrees, and then when you turn back, hopefully you'll have the broadside of the submarine, which obviously will offer a much greater reflection and a much more steady target.
So the torpedoes coming in hot. You can see the bubbles off the propeller there.
Yeah.
In the distance as we close in.
So that Alpha is now cavitating. She's gone to full military power and is trying to outrun this torpedo, but unfortunately, this is a Mark 48, not an old tiger fish or something. These Alphas were a big part of the original design philosophy for the Mark 48 and the British Spearfish. This submarine could originally outrun anti-submarine torpedoes. And I would say that this is likely a very doomed Alpha.
We're coming in hot, right up the rear.
You can see the cavitation there. That's what I was talking about before. When you go too fast, you make the bubbles, and it's very loud. Now, obviously, she can't hear this torpedo now. It's completely in her baffles, so it's just guesswork for her. Not a nice place to be for a submariner.
Just going up and down, hoping for the best.
Yep.
Hit track 7002.
And there goes the engine.
Yep.
Backside of that submarine just got absolutely slapped. Now it's only a matter of time until the second one comes in and finishes the job.
I would say
Oh, it looks like she's already gone. Maybe.
potentially one. I would say potentially one has done it. We'll see. What you'd be looking for now is a very loud transient as she pops her emergency blows. So submarines have a facility to drop all of their pressurized air into their ballast tanks in one go as an emergency measure to try and get back to the surface. But with a Mark 48 at the stern, yeah, there you go. The Mark 48 at the stern, there's not much coming to that. That would have basically stowed the back end of the submarine in, and there's the emergency blow. They've actually modelled that. That's really cool. But she ain't
We'll
going
get to
nowhere.
sit and watch it as it does end the mission there. But a successful run to the Alpha Class with the Baltimore.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, what did you think?
It's really interesting. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this game for quite some time, and I must say, so far it's looking very cool. I mean, it had a very solid foundation for submarine warfare out of Cold Wars. That game was very well modelled and very well put together, and some of the abstractions that they made were very clever. And this seems to have gone down a similar route, or a little more developed with the abstractions, and it looks really good. I'm
Awesome.
very much looking forward to getting my hands on it.
Well, thank you very much for joining me. It's been good to learn so much about submarine warfare in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully everybody who's watching has enjoyed it. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.